It's time to discuss UFC 300. That's right, the most highly anticipated card of the last decade. Well, here's the thing. I think the UFC is going to massively disappoint. I think they're going to cheap out and they're going to let the fans down by giving us something that's just good. And of course, you're going to have UFC fans that are going to go crazy because Dana White's going to be speaking really loud over the breaking news video that he's going to drop. But in reality, it's going to be a cheap card that, is just okay. All right. They're not going to give us what we really want or what the fans deserve. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you guys the realistic card that we're going to get. All right. I hate how people say realistic because that's just the word for, listen, man, expect something realistic, aka, dude, expect something that's shit. Okay. Versus the card that we should get and that I want to see, which is also realistic. It's doable. It's going to be filled with fighters that don't have a fight lined up. All right. I know we have a bunch of title fights coming up right before UFC 300. It's unrealistic to expect O'Malley and Volkanovski and a bunch of these other champions to be on that card. But I'm going to show you guys something that's actually doable that they're just not going to give us because they're lazy and they're going to be worried about the fight night that's right before UFC 300. Oh, we need a big main event fight night. Oh my gosh. They're too concerned with shit that doesn't matter. You know what? I'd be okay with them taking away 2 fight nights, one before UFC 300 and one after, if that means that UFC 300 card is going to be unbelievably stacked. And of course, some fans in the comments are going to be saying things like, come on, man, I'd rather see more fight nights than just a stack card. Oh, get the fuck out of here. All right, just spare me. So let's get on to it, guys. I'm going to be Dana White, and I'm going to show you guys the first realistic card that we're probably going to get. What's up, fight fans? It's UFC President Dana White here, and we've got an unbelievably stacked fight night card. UFC 300 is finally here. The super fight that I've been hinting at for forever is Nick Diaz. He'll be coming back to face Dustin Poirier in an unbelievable super fight, 5 rounds. In the co-main event, the BMF title is on the line. 5 rounds between Justin Gaethje and Max Blessed Holloway. We also have a fantastic feature fight for you guys with a title on it as well. That's Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. They'll be throwing down for the highly anticipated trilogy that you've all been asking for. In the second fight on the main card, Kai Kara France will be taking on Mateus Nicolau in a #1 contenders fight, the flyweight fight heard around the world. Yeah, this is probably going to be it, guys. This is going to be our big UFC 300 card, right? Super fights galore. The BMF title, Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. The BMF title, I don't want to see that shit. I'm sorry, man. I know that Max Holloway and Gaethje is like a fight that's interesting to some of you, but it's a Justin Gaethje win, and I'd rather Max just stay at featherweight. He's right on the cusp of getting a title shot. But yeah, big BMF title fight. It's going to be a Gaethje win, even if it's competitive, okay? Dustin Poirier, he's not on screen right now. I couldn't actually put him on screen because Nick Diaz is like, he just fought in the middleweight division and whatnot. And listen, man, Dustin Poirier seems to be like the big fight guy now that Conor McGregor is absent, right? He's like the guy that has to be on a big mega card. If Dustin Poirier is going to be on UFC 300, I don't want to see him any higher than the first fight on the main card. Max, okay? Nothing higher than that, all right? I'm tired of Dustin Poirier being in these big spots. He's a legend, man. He's an entertaining fighter. Don't put him this high on UFC 300. That's skimping out. All right. And of course, Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso, you already know they're going to give us a WMMA title fight because it's a big title fight. Just fuck off. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be UFC 300 that we're all so hyped about. And Jim Miller's going to be like the feature fight on the prelims, the big prelim fight. Okay. He's going to be on my UFC 300 card, but it'll be the first prelim fight. So let's get into that right now. I'm going to show you guys what they should give us, what we want, what the fans deserve, and what's also doable and realistic. They could give us this next card, but they won't. It's time to make the UFC 300 card that we deserve, okay? Starting with the first fight on the prelims, I'm going to put Jim Miller in there. He's been on UFC 100. He was on UFC 200, and he's won 4 out of his last 5 fights. All of those 4 fights out of the last 5, he's won by finish, 2 by KO, 2 by submission. And I'm going to give him a step up in competition. But you know what? There's going to be something that evens it out a little bit, and that's going to be Bobby Green. Okay? Bobby Green just got knocked out by Jalen Turner more than a couple of times, actually, unfortunately. But Bobby Green is definitely more skilled than Miller at this point, but it evens out when it comes to the durability. Miller's got those woodsman genes. He's got a granite chin. He's got big power. Bobby Green doesn't have that power. He's going to have the big skill advantage, and it would be a fun fight, really good fight here. I want to see this happen. I would want to do Miller versus Conor. That would be a really compelling fight as well. I think that would be competitive, and that's kind of Conor's ceiling. But I know that they're not going to do a prelim Conor fight, and I know that's not going to be a main event. Conor's never fighting Jim Miller. We're being realistic. Again, this is a realistic card that I'm going to make. This is doable. But, of course, they'll disappoint. Dana White did do an interview recently where he was saying, we're going to have fights on the prelims that'll make you say, what? The prelims? Are you kidding me? Man, we'll see what he can do. I don't think he's going to give us this, but we'll see. Next up, we have Derek Lewis, okay? And I'm going to put Derek Lewis in there with a guy that's going to stand and bang with him, and that's going to be Jairzinho Rozenstruik, all right? Perfect striker matchup, guaranteed KO. Let's get Lewis, the fan favorite, back in the win column. Let's make that happen, okay? Next up, how are we feeling, guys? What are we thinking? You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Dominic Cruz. And I think I want to see him in a rematch against his former foe, Cody Garbrandt, who's going to be fighting this weekend, but I think he's going to be able to beat Brian Kelleher. Let's make it happen. Classic cat and mouse chase, okay? Classic cat and mouse chase. The Matador versus the Bull. Let's see if Cody Garbrandt can get the KO, and let's see if Dominic Cruz can make him swing and miss. I want to see this happen, okay? 2 old heads that everyone wants to see fight another old head and not a young up-and-comer that's going to steamroll them. Make this happen. Some of you may say this is disrespectful. Oh, come on. It's disrespectful to have him on the prelims. Oh, just spare me, all right? Same thing with Derek Lewis. Dominic Cruz and Lewis has fought on the prelims throughout the past couple of years. I get that he's a former champ, and same with Cody Garbrandt. Cody's fighting on the prelims of UFC 296. And if he were fighting anyone else that wasn't a Dominic Cruz level, or if Dominic Cruz was fighting anyone that wasn't on the Cody Garbrandt level of status, I wouldn't want them on the prelims. Okay? I wouldn't want them on this card. I want them in a big fight. Big fights throughout the prelims, okay? Next up, Benoit Saint-Denis, okay? Benoit Saint-Denis, why is he not showing up? Here he is, Benoit Saint-Denis, versus Jalen Turner, okay? This is what I want to see. Big fight for the lightweight division. I wanted to see Benoit Saint-Denis destroy Mateusz Gamrot, but they just made that useless Gamrot and RDA fight, which really doesn't do anything. I didn't mind it at first, but now that I've been thinking about it more, why are they making that fight? Let's get Gamrot out of that division. Benoit Saint-Denis is the perfect guy to take him out, but this is going to be a banger. This is a competitive fight. I want to see this one, okay? And to top it all off, let's go with a title fight. Let's do Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. I know it's a title fight, but guess what? They just put this on a main event of a fight night. But a main event of a fight night should be the biggest fight on the prelims for UFC 300. And guess what? If this were to be put on the main card, it would leave a salty taste in our mouths. We'd be complaining. We'd say they're cheaping out. If it's on the prelims and it's a 5-round title fight, it's a little bit different. You could break the rules for UFC 300. The fans are going to be more willing to let it slide, all right? We're still letting it slide, okay? We're still letting it slide. But, I'm just playing around. It's a good fight for the prelims. Let's make it happen. And again, it's more palatable this way. It'll make us be more excited to watch it. This is what I call a stacked prelims for a big card as monumental as UFC 300. Make this happen. It's doable. It's doable. If Garbrandt wins this weekend, okay? If Miller gets past his next test and doesn't have, the unfortune of being destroyed by a brutal KO, if Bobby Green's ready to turn around, let's make these fights happen, okay? Now it's time to get to the main card. All right, guys, the first fight on the main card, okay? This is better than any Dustin Poirier fight you can make because it's actually going to be competitive and it's going to be meaningful. It's going to be Petr Yan, and I'm going to put him up against Davidson Figueiredo. Okay. This should come up. Nope. Okay. Well, I can't change the division. I guess it's not adjusted to Figueiredo moving up a weight class. So I can't have him on screen, but Petr Yan and Figueiredo is the fight to make. Two former champions. Hardcore fans are going to be dying to see this. Once again, Dustin Poirier is like this big fight guy. Well, I'd rather see Petr Yan and Figueiredo any day over any matchup you could give Dustin Poirier at this point, other than maybe Benoit Saint Denis. But this is good. A competitive, highly skilled, striking battle between former champions. Petr Yan, I need him to get back in the win column. And again, everyone loves these guys, so let's make it happen. The second fight on this card, we're going to do a heavyweight fight. We're going to go Cyril Gane, and we're going to match him up with Sergey Pavlovich, okay? This is what I want to see. Classic cat and mouse chase. All right, Matador versus the Bull. Yeah, you could do Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall, but listen, he ducked Tom Aspinall. He brought shame to us Gane pickers that were picking him and relying on him to win the title against John Jones, and he has more work to do. He doesn't deserve to be in an interim title fight yet. I kind of wanted to see him get punished with the Jailton Almeida matchup, but then again, Jailton Almeida doesn't deserve to get rewarded after his last performance against Derek Lewis. So let's do Gane versus Pavlovich. It's a competitive fight. I could see Gane making Pavlovich look plotty, and I could also see Pavlovich taking a couple of those pitter-pat shots and just bombarding him and knocking him out with one punch. Perfect fight. Next up, okay, we're going to do Whittaker. I want to do Robert Whittaker. I know he's in talks to fight Costa on 299. Save him for 300. Save him for 300, okay? Match him up with Kamaru Usman. I don't think I'm going to be able to put Usman on the screen just because he hasn't been put in the middleweight roster yet, but it's fresh matchup. I think Usman is going to take a lot of confidence away from how he felt against Khamzat Chimaev. Unlike Khamzat, Whittaker's not going to hold him down. It's going to be a striking battle. Again, it's different. It's a fresh matchup. Two big names, former champions. Make that fight happen. I want to see it. All right? And now we can get to Adesanya. Now we can get to Adesanya, and we can put him up there against Khamzat Chimaev. Izzy and Usman on the same card. Has that ever happened? I don't think so. Let's put Khamzat in there. He hasn't earned himself a middleweight title shot yet. Adesanya is making his big return. He's going to get out of bed for this one. It's going to be a real tough fight for him. He knows it. He's going to train his ass off. And if he can survive that early onslaught, if he could put in the hours with Craig Jones and improve his jiu-jitsu defense, he has a chance to beat Khamzat Chimaev. He has a chance to knock him out. But Khamzat Chimaev, he could go out there and choke Izzy out in the first round, and that would be massive. Okay, that would be big. And he would regain a little bit of the hype that's been lost as well. Main event. You could do a lot with the main event. Pereira versus Jamal Hill. You could make that fight as well. I really want to see it. But Jamal Hill saying that he won't be ready until June or May. You know, come on, man. Just recover a little faster, right? But you can't just say that. So maybe Jamal could be ready. That's the big title fight that I would really love to see. Again, Aspinall and Gane, interim title fight that doesn't make sense for a main event. You know Stipe's not going to fight Aspinall because Jones is saying he'll only fight in the UFC again if it's against Stipe, and they're saving Stipe. You could do Makhachev versus Gaethje. Doesn't really feel like a big UFC 300 fight, but again, it's like Ramadan's right around the corner. This is like Makhachev's last opportunity to fight before Ramadan, and I don't think they're going to put him on that Saudi Arabia fight night. So Justin Gaethje could be the guy. It could be Charles. Either of those would be okay as long as the fights underneath it are stacked. Again, we don't really need that many title fights as long as we get a bunch of amazing fights, because that's really what's going to get the hardcore fans buzzing about this card. Adesanya Chimaev, Whittaker Kamaru Usman, Gane Pavlovich, Petr Yan Figueiredo. We got Cruz and Garbrandt too, Benoit Saint Denis, Valentina Shevchenko on the prelims, man. I know some of you guys are going to say, this card sucks. Really? Oh, just shut the fuck. I mean, like, how does this card suck? If you think this card sucks, are you even a fan of the sport? Like, I don't understand what the logic would be other than not enough title fights. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're missing a Royval and Moreno rematch title fight. Oh, there's no Valentina Shevchenko title fight on here. Who gives a fuck? These are great fights. Volk's not going to be ready. Strickland probably isn't going to be ready. You got to have something, and Jones isn't going to be ready either. So There's not many title fights you could make. You got to stack it with fights like this. All of these are like number one contender worthy fights, man. Okay, and again, O'Malley won't be ready, and I don't think McGregor's going to be on it. Of course, you could substitute Makhachev and Gaethje with McGregor and Chandler, and that could be perfect too. But this is what they should give us. But they're not going to, man. They're going to disappoint. I know they're going to disappoint. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, I'd love to see Pereira and Jamal Hill on this too. That would be a perfect fight to cap it all off. I'm actually looking forward to that more than I would a Makhachev versus Gaethje fight or a Makhachev rematch. Maybe you could do Arman Tsarukyan. I want to see him get slept, but Makhachev's saying no to him. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next time.